What if the 12 dancing princesses were gender-flipped and a prince was the one afflicted with the dancing? Kate Crackernuts is just such a variant of that tale, and it comes from Scotland. And I'm sharing it by request here on
Fucked Up Fairy Tales with Liz.
Dings! Once upon a time, there were a pair of princesses, Anne and Kate, who were stepsisters. But they got along great, which is a refreshing change of pace. It didn't even matter that Anne was considered to be much prettier than Kate. Kate didn't give a flying fuck. Kate's mother, the queen, however, did take issue. And so the queen conspired with a local henwife to curse the pretty face right off of Anne. Send the girl on an errand to me, but make sure she hasn't had any breakfast before she comes. When she lifts the lid of my pot over there, it will release an enchantment that'll leave her looking real sheepish, if you catch my drift. Now, it was vital to the enchantment that Anne arrived to the henwife's with an empty stomach. The first 2 mornings, Anne found a snack along the way, and so the enchantment didn't work. But the 3rd morning, Kate's mother herself accompanied Anne to make sure the girl didn't sneak a bite. So that morning, when Anne lifted the lid of the pot, her pretty head fell right off her shoulders into the pot, and a sheep's head took its place. Ah! What happened to you?
Your mother had me cursed. What am I gonna do?
There. Everything's gonna be okay, all right? First off, you and I are out of here. We have put up with my toxic mother for far too long. We'll just cover you with a veil, tell everyone you're not feeling so hot and that you're hella contagious. They'll be none the wiser, and I'll figure out how to fix this. The girls journeyed together to the next kingdom and asked their royal family for asylum. Sure. You know, funnily enough, I have 2 sons and one of them is mysteriously ill as well. Night after night, we set someone by his side to keep watch. But by the next morning, that person has disappeared. I'm so desperate, I'm offering a peck of silver to the first person who gets through the night. I'll do it! Kate was granted a seat right by the prince's bedside. He slept most of the night away, but at midnight he suddenly rose. He dressed himself in his best finery and slipped downstairs, with no notice that Kate was following him. He walked to the stables, saddled, and mounted his horse. Kate climbed up behind him and grabbed a hold, and still he didn't notice. The prince brought his dog along for the trip, and they all rode away together into the woods. Along the way, Kate collected nuts from the trees, either as evidence or for a future snack. Then, as they approached a very large green hill, a curious thing happened. Open, open, hill so round. Let in the prince and horse and hound. And the lady on his horse, too. Zounds! The green hill opened up, and the group entered. Inside was a gorgeous atrium, sparkling with lights, and it was populated by a stunning party of fairies. The fairies surrounded the prince. They led him to the dance floor and passed him around from partner to partner. They made him dance so long, the prince eventually collapsed, and the fairies would let him rest momentarily on a settee. But as soon as the boy had some color in his cheeks, they'd whisk him back to the gavotte. Kate remained concealed by the door, where she eavesdropped on the fairy gossip. Do you think Jareth will show tonight? Girl, you gotta get over the Goblin King. Sure, he's sporting a great undercarriage, but the man doesn't stop playing with his balls. At the party's end, they all returned home. The next morning, the palace found Kate totally fine, sitting by the prince's side and treating herself to some of those tree nuts. The story doesn't clarify exactly why Kate was the one who got back unscathed, but I'm assuming it had something to do with the fact that she tricked the fairy door into letting her in. The next morning, Kate had some demands. I need more time to assess this situation. Give me a peck of gold, and I'll venture out another night. And where do you get off asking for more money? A, I know my worth. B, I am risking my life to do this. This situation involves the Fae. The Fae? The Fae. That evening went very much the same as the first, except this time, Kate got some very good intel while she was eavesdropping. Did you hear the latest on the mortal prince's family? They're hosting a pair of out-of-town princesses, and one of them has a sheep's head where her face should be. Oof, that girl got cursed good. Right? Wouldn't that girl love to get a hold of one of our wands? Just 3 taps of one, and she'd have her own pretty face back where it belongs. Kate looked around and saw a little fairy baby playing with a wand. She began rolling the baby some of her nuts to entice it. Sure enough, as the kid came closer and reached for a nut, he dropped the wand and Kate scooped it up. You see, babies are dumb. Immediately, once she and the prince had returned, Kate tapped the wand to Anne's head 3 times, and sure enough, Anne's pretty face was restored. But Kate still wasn't ready to tell all. I need another night, but I think I'm close. What do you say I win the prince's hand in marriage if he's well by morning? If you can figure out my son's affliction, you're more than a worthy wife. Back to the midnight ball it was. And loose fairy lips continued to sink fairy ships. I just love watching mortals get themselves in a tizzy over enchantments that are so easy to fix. To be fair, it's not really easy for mortals. Shut up, Fauna, you're killing my buzz. Oh look, the baby is playing with the very bird that the prince needs to consume to break his enchantment. Ugh, that would be such a bummer for us, though. Yeah, but he'd live. And we'd lose our cute toy! Kate once again used the nuts to distract the baby and secure the bird. The next morning, she requested that she be the one to prepare his breakfast, and so she cooked up that bird. The prince stirred at the mere scent of the meal. He gobbled the bird up in 3 bites. Immediately, he rose, restored to full health, and he was very eager to get to know the adorable princess who had saved him. Meanwhile, while all this had been happening, Anne and the prince's brother had been falling for each other. So those kids had a big old double wedding. And as the saying goes, they all lived happy and died happy, and never drank out of a dry cappy. Isn't that fucking delightful?
Fucked up fairy tales with Liz. Fucked up fairy tales with Liz.